I'm Shauna Martin.
And I'm Misty Perlman.
And this is
Book Till June.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Great. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Shauna's the only one with green.
Yeah, you know. Does it come in black?
Not a little.
Oh, we have some green leaves there.
I wanted to switch it up with strawberry shortcake. Anyway, hi, friends. So welcome to the podcast, episode 2.
Yeah.
This one's titled The Best Price of Beauty. Today we're going to talk about adjusting your prices, raising your prices. Is it a good idea? What's involved? Is there any pushback from the public? Do we care?
Yeah.
What's the point? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So today we're going to get into that discussion. Just real quick, want to introduce everybody that's here today. Right? Let's start with you, Misty.
Hey, this is Misty Perlman. Coming to you live or recorded, if that's the case. Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Hey, are you licensed in anything?
Oh, yeah, I am. We're going to go through that. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I am a licensed cosmetologist since 1990. Licensed manicurist, esthetician, and instructor. Currently managing a barbershop.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, men's hair cuttings right now. That's where I'm at.
Where do you come from? Where are you from?
Ooh, Chicago.
Chicago.
South Side.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds cool.
Talk about St. Patty's Day in Chicago.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Do they have a big parade?
It's a big deal. Yeah, they dye the river green and
Whoa.
Yeah.
Fun.
Are any ducks harmed?
Well, no. I'm
Okay.
sure it's, it's the Chicago River.
Biodegradable. It's
Yeah.
probably food coloring, right? So
I
you
mean,
could eat that.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway, and our next guest is Miss Della.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome, Della.
Thank you for asking. I've been in the business since 77. Long time.
Yeah. That's when I was born.
I love it.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Great
Yeah.
year. Great things happened that year. I was born and you were licensed.
That's right. And when I went, we were licensed for everything under the sun. I didn't have to get all your extra little things. So that made it easy. And it's been a great career in my world.
Yeah.
It's made me lots of money.
We're excited to have somebody with so much experience here.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for asking.
And then who's this, Nick?
Hi, I'm Nick. Yeah.
And this is my son.
Yes, Della is my mother. She provided very well for us growing up.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick, what are you licensed in?
I'm a licensed cosmetology instructor and cosmetologist, and I also have my cosmetology license in Idaho as well.
Ooh, 2 states.
Ooh.
Mhm.
Multiple licenses.
He worked
Mhm.
at our salon,
I love it. What was the salon called?
Suntan, etc.
Ooh.
So we had tanning beds and
Hold
everything.
on. The 80s are calling.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, when people call over, they're like, so I'd like to book, etc.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, like, what is that? Right? Like tanning and everything else. That's cool.
Yeah.
How long have you been a teacher, Nick?
I got my instructor's license in 2013.
Whoa, okay, that's a long time too.
Well, I guess it is now.
Yeah.
10 years. 10 years.
Well, I think
love
so. In
it.
retrospect, like I renewed my driver's license, and I was looking at it this morning, and it says expires in 2032.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Mine said 2027. I thought that was
I thought
far out.
phenomenal.
Hmm.
Anyway, it's nice to have you guys here.
Well, thank you.
Thanks
It's
for making the drive from Coeur d'Alene.
St. Mary's.
Oh, St.
actually.
Mary's, Idaho.
Oh, I love St. Mary's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a small town perspective to bring,
I love it.
especially with the pricing,
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
That one hurts.
Really competitive.
Yeah. It's going to be
Yeah.
interesting.
Okay, well that leaves me. So I have licenses too, right? Like I have a cosmetology license, manicurist, esthetician, master esthetician, and instructor. I've been licensed since the 2000, but mostly focused on nails, right? I adore skin services. I think because I'm in love with ingredients
Mhm.
all the time. I'm always mesmerized by what ingredients can do for the skin, right? Let's take out all the extra stuff and let's just focus on certain ingredients. So that's where I really love that scope of practice.
Yeah.
Everybody's always like, do you love nails? I'm like, yeah, I do love nails, but I'm in love with aesthetics.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then hair is fun, right? When I got my hair license, it wasn't really to do hair. I know there's a lot of cosmetologists, they aspire to do hair since they're little. I just wanted to style the hair. And it really would upset me that I would like go to help somebody in a school
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, you're not licensed cosmetology, so you can't touch this curling iron.
Mhm.
What? So I had to get that license so that I could touch a curling iron and and style hair. Anyway, so that's kind of my background. But I love this industry. I've been in it for what 24 years.
Mhm.
So not bad. I think between all of us, we're at master level status.
There's plenty of years here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love it. All right, well, let's get into the conversation, right?
Absolutely.
So, okay, so what determines the prices in a salon? What do you
Hmm.
guys think?
Well, I think there could be a couple. I mean, it depends on the salon setup, right? Are you a booth renter? Are you an employee? Have you agreed to have kind of standardized pricing? Are
Mhm.
you in a small town or a large town?
Right.
Mhm.
Are you an owner?
Yeah. Are you an
Mhm.
owner? Are you a booth runner?
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of reasons why it would be different.
Mhm.
And I
What are your
think,
competitors doing?
yeah,
You know, what's the salon down the street charging?
Yeah.
or the salon right next door in some
Yeah.
cases.
Yeah.
Absolutely. For me, determines the price is just like, well, we didn't, I don't know, when we were in school, they didn't really talk about that. They didn't really tell us like how to set your prices. So we're just really just literally shooting in the dark.
Mhm.
And the best idea that I had was like, well, I guess we'll call around to other salons in the area and see what they're charging.
Mhm.
And then maybe, go $1 under.
Mhm.
Do a salon tour.
Yeah. And then it would be interesting because when we would call around to the salons and ask them, like, so you had to be clever at it because you couldn't just be like, go down the
What's your
list
price?
of each one because they start to catch on. They're like, wait a minute, are you coming for services? Are you just scoping us out?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of both?
Right.
Well, another thing that makes it a little difficult too is it chemical services or styling
Mhm.
and cutting? Anything that takes more product, your prices
Yeah.
are going to be a little bit different, especially after our whole COVID deal.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't until I took business classes that I realized, like, oh my gosh, there's a whole actual formula and science to pricing.
Hmm.
Like you're saying, you have to figure out like what is the cost of the product, what's the cost of my rent, what's my overhead costs. Then I have to,
What am I worth per hour?
yeah, what
Well,
am
that's
I?
what I was gonna say. What
Yeah,
are we wanting to make?
yeah.
Like,
Well,
what's the
and
profit?
I think for nails, and that's why I'm so excited to have all of you guys here for nails. Back in Spokane, back when I started doing nails, the average full set, I mean, I feel like we were getting ripped off. The average full set was $30.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mhm.
Regardless of the skill level you're putting in, because I don't think anybody at that time really appreciated skill,
Right.
talent, product. And
And
in lieu of that, sorry, and in lieu of that, we had people down the street on every corner that were doing full sets for $10.
right.
And then how do you justify that? And how do you break through that?
Mhm.
Anyway, so we stuck it out. But nowadays, especially when I started teaching, I would hear and see online people, oh, well, how much would, they would post a picture and they would go, well, how much would you charge for this? And there's people like, oh, 65, oh, 210,
Hmm.
$300. And all I could think to myself was, what city are you in?
Where are you
And
living?
let me go set up a nail station.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Well,
You're
what kind
making
of
$300 a full set?
Yeah.
well, and do you have a clientele that is stuck with you for the past 10 years, or are you trying to attract new clientele? Because I think that's going to affect your prices too, right?
Yes.
And the artistic ability is amazing, and I don't think a lot of clients or public put any weight in that at all. You're a nail tech, you're not an artist.
Agree.
And,
Mhm.
sadly enough, you are an artist
Yeah.
in every aspect of the word, and you deserve every bit of that
Yeah.
money that you charge.
Della, I couldn't agree more. And I just feel like high five to all the newer nail techs that are entering this industry and demand a higher standard.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And wow. I mean,
I
bless.
agree.
Yeah.
My daughter, another generation of this, was a nail tech. And there are 3 brand new nail techs in St. Mary's, which I hope they all survive because there are a bunch. And the one she got right out of school, $65 a set, and nail art is on top of that,
Mhm.
extra charge.
Right.
And in fact, my daughter said, pardon the expression, I wish I had balls enough to do that when I got out of school.
Yeah.
But see,
To
they were,
push the envelope.
yeah, but
Mhm.
they were never trained, or I don't felt any of us were ever trained. Stand up for who we are. Let's get
Right.
that
Because
money coming in.
Della, exactly. The price is the price.
Yeah,
Right.
Mhm.
And we shouldn't have
exactly.
to go, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, it's $65.
And this product cost me 40 and I'm only going to charge you 30.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah. So, like, what are the things that take into play for that, right? How much are you paying rent?
Exactly.
In Spokane, you used to be able to rent a station for like $200,
Oh,
right?
no way now.
No, now it's
Mhm.
like $600.
Mhm.
Okay, so the price has to go up,
Exactly.
right? The product has to go up. The price, the cost of the product is up. Can we get it at the local, warehouse like we used to down the street? Not really.
No,
And a lot of places have gone to online, so now we're paying for shipping. There's just like so many factors that go into it that I really wish the public really understood what's involved. Like you were saying when we first started, like it's super key.
yeah.
Is it our job to educate them about it though? Like when people are paying more for groceries and more for gas and more for what, they're still going out to eat, they're still doing whatever they want to do, and they're like, "Oh, your haircut went up?"
Oh, I
Since
think
since
it's
I was here the last time,
100%.
I'm like, "Yep.
Yes, because what if
Yep."
you had taken advanced classes and continued education that cost you $500 to
Right.
attend that class,
Right.
and now you've picked up that certificate and that skill?
Right. So I think it is our job to educate the client even and let them know, "Yeah, my prices went up and let me tell you why."
Well, and I just to put it out there, I went to a large chain store to get my haircut last time. It was
Mhm.
$22
Mhm.
just for a standard haircut.
Mhm. Absolutely.
So,
Did you get a shampoo?
nope,
Rude.
I know. So,
Or
yeah, their
probably not
prices
even
are
a
up
shoulder
everywhere.
rub.
Oh.
No, thank you.
But some of those high-end places, you get a massage. Yeah.
It's all about that
That scalp
shampoo.
massage.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's all about the shampoo scalp
Yep.
massage.
What do you guys think about mainly hair cosmetologists, hairstylists, charging an hourly rate?
For the service?
Oh,
A lot of them are going
Why
to
not?
just an hourly rate. Like,
So,
this is what I'm going to charge per hour,
I think
regardless of what I am doing and putting the product. You figure the product into
yeah.
an hourly rate.
So Shauna had mentioned earlier about pricing, and it had me thinking, it's like, well, you build speed with this experience, right?
Mhm.
So, you get faster, so
Yep.
that means a smaller amount of time is worth more,
right.
right? So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think maybe that hourly rate might go for, some bigger, like longer services,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like extension install,
Mhm.
color correct,
Mhm.
long spiral perm. I always feel like those spiral perms should go by the hour because
Right.
they take forever.
absolutely.
Uh,
or
but people come in and like, what do you mean it's $110? My hair's down to my ass.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're right, ma'am. It should be $400.
Exactly.
But here you are, 110.
and to factor in each bottle of color I'm going to use on your hair is like,
Yeah.
100 times more than when I started.
Yeah, and you're right. So, and I've worked with people that have done it either by the hour, by the processes. So, how many
Mhm.
processes am I having to go through, right, from start to finish?
Mm-hmm.
And then what's the end result? And I think nails are priced a lot on a different level,
Right.
Mhm.
I think a
different
lot.
platform.
I think services are you charge them differently, right? So, with color, there's always this unknown factor, and with perms, any chemical service, it's like this unknown. In a perfect world, yes, it's going to start at 120, but the key word is it starts at,
Starts at.
because it could evolve and become something different later, you know.
Well, and that's even on the client end. You know,
Sure.
they come
How
in and
picky are you going to
ask
be?
for a root color and they end up with a balayage. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
really?
I think
Yeah.
it is important to understand cost. I mean, when I was teaching, I had a couple of lesson plans, more than a couple of lesson plans, where as they were formulating the color, I made them break it down
Mhm.
by the ounce of the color. How much is this
Well,
can of color cost this?
yes.
How
Yeah.
much is the ounce developer? How much is it per ounce?
Mhm.
What does it cost just for this one bowl? And oh, let's just go mix some more, right? Because they wanted to just keep mixing.
Or not want to run out next time, so they overmix,
So they
Yeah.
and then they
overmix.
throw a whole bowl
Then you're
away.
throwing it away.
Yes. And then they're just like, oh, wow, too bad. It's like, I don't need, what are you doing with that whole bowl? It's in the trash now.
hmm
Mhm.
So when we talk about waste, right, that's the same thing too. Whether or not you're an owner, whether or not you're somebody's supplying those products, and you're just like, oh, don't care, I'm just going to mix it up. But if it's yours and you bought it,
Yeah.
so cost comes into play with that. You know, just knowing what you're going to charge, how much you're willing to waste, what's the break even point, and how
Yeah.
much do you want to profit?
Scraping the edge of that bowl is a break-even point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And then also time is money. So there's like this weird spot where you don't want to take 5 hours to apply it, right? You want to get it on and then you want to keep moving. But I feel like if we talk about the school, right? We're talking about school when they're learning,
Mhm.
they taking all the time in the world to get it on. It's already developed. And they're still 2
Mhm.
hours later still putting stuff on. So
Yeah.
you do have to like get that time.
I was reading right here on Gloss Genius. It says, and this is Tabitha Coffee, who we all know, right?
Yeah.
Tabitha
Oh yeah,
Coffee.
I love Tabitha.
She says it's the number one thing hairdressers have been dealing with. You aren't screwing your clients over by raising your prices. You are charging what you're worth. It's the price of doing business.
Well, and sometimes you need to break up with clients
Yep.
Yeah.
and level up.
What if all
Right.
of my
With your clientele.
clients leave me? It's her next question. What if all of my clients leave me?
Yeah.
There'll be others to follow through the door.
Agree.
Mhm.
Yeah. Is that what Tabitha said?
Yeah, it says the goal of raising prices is to lose some people and make room for higher paying clientele.
Yeah. I've always personally I've always operated like whenever somebody's like not coming back, whether it's for they scheduled, I don't really know them, they no show, or they've rescheduled, they're not coming back, or whatever the case may be. If we have a falling out even, if they leave my book, okay. And I tried not my whole career tried very hard not to like take it personal, and then just was like it is what it is. And they'll the person that's supposed to replace them will come along, they're going to walk through that door, and 9 times out of 10 like the phone would ring immediately, or
Mhm.
somebody would walk in the door ready to, hey, you got an appointment open? Yes I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes I do. So yeah, don't worry. I would never worry about people, well, I'm not coming back. Okay,
Well, and how
you don't
often
have to.
would a client call or get a hold of you to schedule an appointment and you didn't have room?
A
And so
lot.
how many clients are you turning away that you didn't even realize?
Yeah, a lot.
And
I
now
had
that
a
you have the
waiting
spot,
list.
you have a waiting list and you don't even realize it.
Yeah. I had a waiting list. Well, and I would use that waiting list to bump people up when they're not there, right? Just like
Right.
let me get to the list and start moving people up who wants to come in. And then if it was really super last minute, I would offer them like a deal. Like, hey, if you come down here in the next 10 minutes,
Right.
give you a discount. And they're like, okay.
Absolutely.
Or I'll throw in art or whatever. Just please get down here fast.
Fill my spot.
Yeah. But if you're past that 10 minutes, like the deal's
Mhm.
off. So they would, they would race down to the shop.
Yeah.
So
What do you guys think about letting customers know ahead of time that that we're going to raise prices next time? Or do we just
raise them out of
raise them
nowhere.
and you don't say it? Or do you put some little notice in your shop that as of next month?
I warned people 3 months in advance.
3 months, okay.
And I don't again, don't ask me where I got that number from. It just felt comfortable. Like, if I were receiving news, I would want it a couple months in advance so I could
Plan.
plan and budget or
Just
whatever.
communicating.
Yeah.
Yeah, communicating with them.
Yeah. And then I had it posted everywhere. Like it's not a secret. It's not a secret. And I hate secrets,
Mhm.
especially in my career, just everything's open and out front. So there was posts everywhere throughout the shop. There was posts. We didn't have the internet really back then.
Right.
Ironically, like in that time frame when I owned a salon and we were building clientele and everything and running it, we barely had cell phones then. That's what's so crazy. And now we have smartphones and the whole looking
Right.
online or whatever. Where was I going with that? I totally forgot where I was going with
No
that.
surprises and ready
No,
to
no surprises. Letting
Oh,
your
thank you.
clients
Yeah,
know
and then I would
ahead of
tell them
time
at the appointment, like, "Hey,
next
did you
time.
see the flyer?" And they go, "Oh no," and I feel like they did see that flyer.
Oh yeah, they
But
want to
oh,
get away with one.
girl, hold on, let me go get it for you. And I would go get it and be like, it's right here. So then I just taped one on my nail lamp
Mm-hmm.
so that it was right there, and then one on the wall, and then one in the window. Like, I don't want to fight with anybody. I don't want to lose people that are great. I don't feel like the prices being raised were like that crazy. It's not like we went from like we just raised the price of $75. It was like $5.
Yeah.
And you would be surprised though, like how many people did low key freak out about that. What do you mean you're raising them $5? For what?
Right.
Well, I have to. Like when acetone is no longer $3.
Right.
Acetone is now $12 for a smaller bottle.
Right.
I have
Right.
in 1977. How much was a haircut?
Well, we started out in 80 in St. Mary's when we moved back up there. On Mondays, we had $3 haircuts to build our business.
In 1980.
1980.
$3.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was only Mondays. And then they had a punch card, and for every 3 people they sent into us, they would get a free haircut
Mm.
on that Monday. But it worked. I mean, we
Sure.
stormed town, and we had 2 hairdressers in town.
Busy. You guys were probably so busy.
Yeah, and we had 2 that did not like us.
Oh.
And I had ended up working for her, one of them, for a little while. And she's like, "You guys did that all wrong." No, we built a clientele. You got to do what you got to do,
I agree.
And
Yeah.
it was only Mondays, and we only did it for a very short time because we were overwhelmed.
Well, and I know you were at
So,
$7 for must have been 15,
forever.
20 years. You had $7
Yeah.
haircut.
The same haircut price, $7 for 15 years.
For a long time.
Yeah. So
Well,
think about that now. That doesn't. I mean, people are raising their prices
Right.
How many
yearly.
Well, let's talk about then how many clients did you have to do in a day to reach your goal for the
right.
day? Your
You
daily
you busted your butt
money goal.
maybe to make what, $75 that day?
Yeah.
So, in
A
just
lot.
haircuts,
Yeah.
our chemical services were more, but when I quit 3 years ago, or forced to quit, I was charging $20 for a haircut. Yes, blow dry and curling iron was a little on top, but my bad, depending on my client, they got a $20 haircut with a full service,
Well, and I think that's worth a discussion too. I mean, prices are a bit flexible depending on the services and
And who you're,
history.
yeah.
I mean, it just is what it is, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, in the pricing right down to like booth rent.
Hmm.
That's right. So why is the booth rent increased from like 200 to 600? Well, their cost of the owner's cost of their mortgage or rent has increased substantially.
Well, power and water,
Yeah.
Everything.
it's just nuts
I think like a
anymore.
good rule of thumb would be like, well, what is the overall overhead cost for the owner? And then how many stations can they actually put in there? And then, divide how many stations by the total cost of the building. And then that would be how much you would charge for rent per station. So why do some salons have 25 stations and some have 4? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then right now people have gone to suites.
Oh, right.
Right? Private suites, because people are tired of their stuff being messed with because it costs so much money, and they're tired of people touching their things whenever they want to when they're not there. So now they're doing private suites, and those are even more. It's like renting an apartment.
Yeah. Well, and but a plus side is that is your salon,
Yes.
yours.
Fully
Mhm.
equipped too. A lot of them come like fully furnished, fully equipped. So the price does make sense, but it's like, what do you want to pay? And then what do you want to charge your clients?
What do you got to charge?
Exactly.
For a haircut, for color, for nails, for a pedicure? It would blow my mind. People would say, like, when you get a pedicure, and they were like, well, pedicures for a spa pedicure at this other place is $20. What?
Mhm.
$20 for a spa pedicure? To me, that's a basic pedicure. So it's also, I think, the perception of the service.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
and then, so spa pedicure, how long of a service is that on your books?
Spa for me was an hour and a half.
So that's less than $20 an hour. How much? I mean, come on.
So I had my spas at 85, like anywhere between 65 and 85, depending on what I was doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It has to be worth your time too. You're not doing this just to be nice.
Yeah. And then then gel polish was created and I had to get real clever with how to break down the prices. So it's like, okay, so now we have to have a specific gel polish pedicure, gel polish spa pedicure.
Right. And I think that's why I was talking about the hourly rates too, because when people are saying, oh, well, let's talk about hair color, and then they're going to do the root smudge and a gloss and a da-da-da and the toner, and then that's extra. And then, oh, but you want, okay, how are we breaking all this down individually, or are we just saying, I'm going to do your color service for $400?
I think it's really important to be very structured in your plan. Like, this price includes this. I'm going to lighten it, and then we're going to tone it. And that's what my price includes. But then, they're like, oh, my roots, I want them a little darker. I want things a little bit. It just gets out of control. And it's like, well, that deviates from my original quote, I guess, if you were to think about it as a
Right.
contractor,
Maybe
Right.
an a la carte price sheet,
Mm-hmm.
and then a price sheet labeling each service.
Yeah. Well, and then as you're adding services, you would have to like requote the client.
Yeah,
Yeah.
disclose. Like,
Yeah.
oh, well, since you want
That's
that.
another. Up.
Right. And I think that's why a lot of people now are, requiring deposits too. So they're
Sure.
booking these, 3-hour services and then not showing. So a lot of these newer cosmetologists, they are asking for that
And no refunds.
deposit. No, give me half up front to book your spot.
Which I think is, if you're in the industry, that's fair. I have this open spot in my book now for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, that there's nobody in it.
Right.
And so I'm
You're
just
not making
out,
any money.
and I can't pay my booth rental for that day.
Word. So right. So that part what you just said makes me laugh when you're like, oh, I work in a salon. It's like, oh, well, yeah. How, do you making a good living? They're like, yeah, I make $100 an hour.
Do you?
Are you making $100 an hour while you're doing nothing while you're sitting there with a 2-hour gap?
You're right.
You have to take that money and spread it out. So it's like, really, you're just
Well, and
making about $20 an hour.
Mhm.
Making
Is that your profit?
$100. Right. So a revenue is different than profit, right?
Yeah.
Revenue is what comes in, but what are you paying out of that $100 to keep those doors open?
Right.
Yeah.
So what if I have chosen to raise my prices and then I've realized I've raised them too much, that I've gotten
Ooh.
that much pushback?
Huh,
Like
that's an
all
interesting-
your whole clientele was like,
Yeah.
peace.
I
Yeah.
come from the mindset, I think, if you're gonna do it, have a larger goal in mind. Don't go back. So in another year, are those prices going to be too high? In
Right.
another 2 years, are those prices going to be too high? Because it's all a matter of time. Inflation just keeps
Right.
going.
Or the
But
thought
that
of
is-
doing it in increments, so maybe I know everything should go up $5, $10 or whatever. So
Right.
maybe I'm going to do, $2 this year on my haircut or $5 on chemical services or whatever. I just thought that was an interesting perspective. If
That
you've
is.
chosen to raise them and then you're like,
I
It's
guess
in-
you could
yeah.
get into discount services, but
yeah.
and how do you guys feel about that?
I'm not a big fan on discounted services at all.
Years ago, I owned my own salon back in Chicago, and I had a huge following. I really did. And my husband used to get so angry at me when I gave a few individuals, these really great deals just because I'd known them a long time and they were, part of a community that we were
Family
there.
discount.
It wasn't even family. I just was like, well, I've always charged them $10 for a haircut, so I'll just keep charging them $10 for a haircut when everybody else was already paying me $15.
Mhm.
And I would just keep allowing these same few handfuls of people in for
Mm-mm.
$10 because, well, it was, Joe Blow or whatever, pick a name, whatever. Not using their names, obviously. But just in case, this goes really famous and everybody
Yeah, girl,
knows
for
who I
sure,
am,
for sure.
talking about them from haircuts 10 years ago. But yeah, so I think you got to be careful because how do you know other people are talking to each other like, oh, I went to get my haircut from so-and-so.
Right.
Her haircuts are great. They're only $10. And someone else like, what?
And honestly,
I want to go there.
aren't those the ones that are supposed to help you succeed?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean, sometimes we think about it backwards. My
Yeah.
friends should.
Be
Do you
willing
really
to.
support me, or are you coming to me just because you're getting a deal?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, which brings right. So not to bring too much beauty school into it, but so when I was teaching, I would have like at the first orientations, like, "Hey, students, welcome to school," and they're so excited, and they're like, "Yeah, well," and we're doing our introductions, and they're telling me like their plans and what they want to do, and they always mention, "Yeah, I have a lot of friends, so I'm going to be very
Right.
successful,"
They're all going to follow me.
and and
They all want a
and
free haircut.
and the jaded licensed professional in me inside was like, "Oh no, that's not happening." But I didn't want to crush their dreams,
Right.
right? And I wanted to be supportive. So I just would encourage them like, "Okay, well that's great. Just, make sure that you're also reaching out to strangers because in my experience, strangers have been a better clientele than people that I actually knew. They
Absolutely.
were the best clients.
People that have
I don't
never
even
met you.
know.
Well,
Yep.
and
The people that I knew were the worst.
they appreciate you too. I mean, they tip and they're like, "Oh, you're so nice. Your customer service is great." Somebody that knows you, they already know you.
Yeah.
Right.
I had taken a advanced class. I can't even remember the years, but anyway, the guy up front on stage said, "Your worst clients are family and friends.
Mm-hmm.
They don't tip you. They don't care if they come back. You need to venture out and find your own people so you can make a living in this business."
Right. It's a
So,
fact. Now I adopted my sister as my model like throughout my whole like learning through school, going through this career, and when I wanted to try out new stuff, I would utilize her. So she got her services for
Sure.
free her
Sure.
whole life. So it was really sad day when I retired, and then like where's she supposed to go? I felt
Right.
bad.
Mhm.
Yeah. But that was probably the only person that ever got like a free service.
Free.
And then my mom would come. So I would tell my mom, like, you can buy me lunch. And so those are the only two.
Trade. Yeah.
Yeah, you buy
Barter.
me lunch. I'm gonna need some food around 3 o'clock. You bring that and I'll do your nails.
Yeah.
It'd be so great. And then they would, and so there was the only two people in my whole life that I would give a discount to. And everybody else like, no, sorry. I have to pay my rent.
I charged all of mine. My grandma was the only one, but she helped me get through school and
Right.
made sure I had gas to go back and forth. But everybody, my mom, she'd write her check out before she even got in the building.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
You mentioned bartering.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that I think that used to be a bigger deal than it is now.
I've done it.
Yeah, trade.
I've
was
done it.
huge.
Bartering.
Bartering was
Yeah.
huge.
yeah, I did a
Well,
lot.
yeah. Well, you mentioned your mom bringing you lunch, and so I think, well, yeah, bartering. I mean, like you say, years ago when money probably
Well, even
wasn't
on a
as.
professional level, I
Yeah.
remember mom, diamond rings, uh,
Yeah, I had a
dental
jeweler.
dental work. I would go to the dentist on
Oh,
her.
absolutely.
So I mean, but
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because we had no dental insurance
Yeah.
for years. And
yeah, you just don't hear much about the barter system
You're
anymore
right,
in
Nick. Yeah.
cosmetology.
I don't think my whole entire career, and so this was also a rude shock for myself when I retired and I was no longer like working in salon. Because now it's like I have to pay.
I gotta pay for
Oh
a
my goodness,
haircut.
I have to pay for my stuff because my whole career I just traded everything with people that I knew, right? Oh, you want this, you want that, just trade it out.
Right. Right.
well, now that goes back to me, small town versus big town.
Yeah.
I always usually goes to one of my former coworkers and pay $25 for a haircut. And one day I was in Coeur d'Alene and decided I'm going to go get a haircut. $45. And I was like, okay. You know, it was total shock to me that in today's world, and it shouldn't have been. She
Right.
was very worth it. Loved my haircut. But what a sticker shock when, like you said, we used to cut
Barter.
each other's hair
Yeah.
back and forth in the salon all the time. And then, boom, $45. Cool.
So
Yeah.
it's almost kind of what I hear you saying is being in the industry, you almost don't even see the pricing because we're not even a part of the demographic that shops our industry.
Correct.
So
Right.
it is very
Right.
interesting.
But I
Yeah.
have been seeing more on social media where there are professionals out there that are saying, I do lashes. Is anybody looking to trade services, nails? I'll be willing to do lashes for nails or facials or whatever. So I think it might be that bartering that you were saying, Nick, might be kind of coming back. Like, let's trade services.
Yeah.
Or is it that they miss that from being in a group of salon
Right.
people that are willing? Yeah. That's where I come from, is that I just miss
Being in
not
that
being
group.
able, oh, you cut my hair right now? You got a minute?
Yeah,
Right.
just sliding right in.
I think it's important to make a standard once a year price raise time, whether it be January,
Oh,
July.
so it's consistent.
Yep.
I'm
So
with
they
that. Yeah.
can expect that every
Mhm.
year. Okay, her prices are going to be going up. It's that time of
Yeah.
year.
It's spring.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. That's not a bad plan.
Or do you do it right before the holiday season?
Oh,
Because they're going to be spending
Like,
money.
wham,
anyway.
bam, here we go.
I don't know. My clients were always just so lovely with me around the holidays and
Oh,
my
yeah.
birthday. They're just like, I'm a spoiled, rotten brat,
Right.
but a princess nonetheless.
Yeah.
And just really like showered. Like people really took. I love clients. I know some people, like when I'm online, I get sad when I read people's threads and comments, and they're talking about like, oh, I hate clients. I hate doing service. Like, why are you in this
That's
industry?
the
Right.
And
best
these
part.
is the best part. My clients were so wonderful my whole career, and they would take really good care of me. They would give me, I don't know, everything from like homemade blankets and scarves and
Yep.
clothes and farm fresh eggs and vegetables and
Mhm.
meat and presents and gift cards and coffee and hey, I
Yeah.
was just thinking of you. I brought you this cookie. Like it
Yeah.
was lovely, and I really miss it. Or for Christmas or your birthday, you got like these fat bonuses. Like you would get a Christmas card and you would open it, and it's just like laced with all this money. You're like, oh my god, I love December. And then you would also
Absolutely.
you would look for.
Exciting.
I had clients that would bring me like tins of cookies, like those cookie tins, and they spent their whole like month of December making these
Yeah, big trays.
these wonderful homemade cookies that were all different. That's like I think that's right up there with sewing. It's kind of like a dying trend.
Career.
I hope it never goes away, but I just love that part where they bring the tin and they bring their cookies, and if they don't show up, you're kind of sad and you're like, hey, where's the cookie person? I was really looking forward to that. Or homemade jam.
And
Oh,
then
yeah.
your clients get to be more of your family because you see them more often.
Yeah.
So you have a huge soft
Yes.
spot in your heart.
And then you're invited to baby showers, weddings, birthdays and gatherings and all kinds of stuff.
Well,
Sadly enough, funerals.
and you
Yeah,
come from the
true.
era of like the weekly set.
Yeah.
Oh, the shampoo set.
The blue-haired
Love it.
ladies. Yeah.
Love it.
That was your bread and butter. That's how you survived during the hard times.
I love a good shampoo set.
Hmm.
My
And
friend
the co-mounts. I thought
yes.
you would have been great in the 70s and the 80s.
My friend I met this wonderful person, Linda Boggs, and she lives in Spokane and she's retired now. But when I worked with her at this beauty school, when I first got started, she was also from that generation where she worked in a salon. I think they still smoked
Oh,
in this
Oh,
like
yeah.
right, they sat at the hair chair and
Oh,
smoked.
yeah. There was
But anyway,
ashtrays in the
but
hair
if
chair.
you
I
wanted to
was blowing
know
up in your face the
if
whole
you
time.
yes, if you wanted to know how to do a good shampoo set and a good back comb, you definitely went and pick Linda's brain. And she just so quick at it and good. And I picked up some stuff from her that absolutely that back comb lasts until you wash it out. Like
That's
it's
right.
not going anywhere.
I
So
remember being a kid, after school, we'd walk down to the salon until mom got off work and we got picked up. And, you'd walk in and you'd smell perm just hit you in the face. And she's like, it's okay, honey. That's the smell of money.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
she would
Yeah.
have these little ladies, she'd wash the hair. They look like a wet dog. No hair, you see their scalp. And by the time they're done, they have this big, glorious, full-on
Helmet.
bouffant. And it's like, where did that come from? And it was the
Your
back
little-
combing
little
hairspray.
Frog fur ladies.
Yeah. It's all in the technique. I love it. When we're changing the prices, do we really care about what the public thinks about that?
Again,
Because some people are like, no, I don't care. But I think they're lying.
I think it wrenches our hearts But small town versus big town, you have to care,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And a
If it's
lot
going
of,
to cost you to lose people.
yeah, just go down the street for another $3, you know, it's like, But then I always factored in my clientele at the time also. You know, I had a lot of them that were on limited budgets but another fortunate thing in our little community is everybody had money and they were very willing to share like you said. So that sometimes offset raising your prices,
Sure.
which
Because of the
it
other
shouldn't.
perks.
Yeah. But
They were there to take care of you in other ways.
uh-huh.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The generosity.
Exactly.
The generosity factor.
Mm-hmm.
And people are very generous. You
They
know,
really are.
you treat them nice, they're going to treat you nice.
I agree.
So,
You get more with honey,
yeah, exactly.
right? You get more with honey.
For sure.
Misty, what do you think? Do you think people that we care? We
I don't
should care? We
know.
should
I don't
care?
care. I don't know. Do you think Walmart cares?
No, Walmart doesn't care.
You go into Walmart and you're like, I really need this, whatever. Whatever you go to Walmart for, a gallon of milk, whatever.
Well, let's use
Oh
Fast
man,
Foods
it was
mayonnaise.
only it was 50 cents left. Do you think Walmart cares?
No, girl, I don't.
You got to buy the milk. They're going to put the cost up there. Okay, so if people, here's the other thing, you guys. Here's the other thing. Beauty industry, is it a necessity?
Ooh.
Ooh, we were talking about this on our
So
drive
when we
when
talk
COVID
about,
hit.
well, yeah. So
Oh,
is it one of those? Is it, what were they calling it? COVID, the
Essential worker.
essential workers.
Essential.
Were we essential? No, they shut us down.
not in the government eyes.
We weren't essential. So my mind is, it's not like. Then you wonder, okay, if we're not essential, but yet eating is, and so when you go to the store, you got to pay whatever the groceries cost. But if people are going to get their hair done and get their nails done, that's a luxury.
Mm-hmm.
So if they've got the money to spend on a fancy set of $85 nails, I don't care that I'm now going to charge you $90. I mean, you know what I
Right,
mean?
I got
I
you.
do. And
Because it's a luxury.
And I think because of that factor, so there's things that you learn, right, throughout your career as you're working, and you're working as a booth runner, you're working hourly, you're working independently, however you're working. I ended up working at a spa,
Mm-hmm.
and it blew my mind how easily the public was coming in, booking appointments, not blinking an eye,
At
at
the
a
cost.
$140 pedicure. And I literally was like, why am I still charging 45?
Exactly.
When there's people that clearly the price is the price. And these people aren't coming in there and going, well, why is it 140? They're happily paying that fee.
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't they happily pay it at my shop? So then I also realized too, though, like I was offering a great service, right? My service is knowledgeable, talented, clean, but does it have any bells and whistles?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So then I was like, I can make bells and whistles if I can increase that price up to about 85.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then if I added gel, then it was more. But what did I do? I looked at my love for aesthetics and incorporated that into nails. And then I was creating masks and
Custom.
scrubs
Mm-hmm.
and custom soaks. And the soaks were created to like, this is going to help you with pain. This is going to help you with swelling. This is going to help you relax. And then incorporate those into the service. Let's do steam towels. Let's do
Yeah, create a
this.
mood.
Let's do
Mhm.
that, and create a mood. And then I was like, I can absolutely charge this price, but I don't think that I would feel good about it if I was like, oh, $85,
That's my
and it's
pedicure.
just
Yeah.
it's
Amazing
just me in
pedicure.
a bucket and a towel and a
In and
nail
out.
file.
And I guess that's what I mean about it's not essential,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not like groceries and gas in our car and electricity and whatever. If people have money to spend on hair and nails, because you can live without fancy nails,
Yeah.
you can live and never get your hair cut and let it just grow and look, whatever. So that's why I feel like I don't know that I should feel bad or feel, ooh, these are my prices. I don't know if I want to raise them or,
Yeah.
I think that COVID also brought out a different side of the clientele also
Mm-hmm.
because they did have to go without that. So when we were able to get back to work, they were more willing to pay us
Mhm.
what we were worth.
I really do like that luxury.
Yeah.
I
That
am willing to spend
And
I
that.
it
don't
was
want to cut my hair in the mirror no more.
yes, but it was a double-edged sword, right? So there was a big factor of people that I saw that immediately were like, "Oh, I've gone this long without it. I didn't really need it in the first place, and I'm fine." So
Mm.
there was like a sector of division, right? Like there was a sector of people that were like, "No, no, I'm happy to be back. Thank God."
Yeah.
Right? Bless this industry. And others that were like, "I didn't really need it."
They probably
Yeah.
weren't faithful clients to begin with.
Maybe.
You're probably right.
Maybe.
You
Yeah,
know,
sure.
But then
not appreciative.
so the flip side of
Sure.
that, being a guy, uh, and not getting a haircut is a big deal.
Sure, right? Because you guys need your haircut like every 2 weeks.
Well, yeah. Well, people will look at you. They won't hire you. You know, you look like a scrub.
Great perspective, Nick. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's totally
absolutely.
different.
Yeah,
Especially in the professional world. You know, you still had to look
I still don't
professional.
know if it's essential, right? But
That's what I guess, yeah, that word essential. That's when I
but
was
still,
like,
if it's
oh,
hindering you
essential.
from getting a job or hindering you from something, I think
Mhm.
And the Flobies were gone. You
Right.
know?
let's bring the Flowbee back. I want one so bad. Let's find one.
what's a Flowbee?
The vacuum hair cutter.
Oh, Shauna. The Flowbee.
You don't remember the Flowbee.
I'm sorry, but I
During
can. But now that you guys are describing it, sure.
during COVID, I seen a few men ads saying, "If you have a Flowbee laying around, I'll buy it." It's like, you know, they were desperate for a haircut and couldn't get one. So
What's next there, Miss Shauna?
Okay, let's see. Do you guys have any? Does anybody here on the panel have any advice for others dealing with pricing issues?
Hmm.
raise them and don't be afraid.
Okay, that's solid. I like it.
Yeah.
It's cut black and white. It's very black and
Well,
white.
and my perspective is if you're struggling to survive and continue providing these services, if you don't raise them, you're not going to be able to continue. So it's about your survival too, or else all those clients are going to be out. So if you have to raise them, you have to raise them. It's not to get an extra vacation. It's not to get a new car. It's not to upgrade your house. It's to continue doing what you're already doing.
Agree.
And still pay your light bill.
Right, agree. Yeah, because a lot of times we're paying bills at the salon and then also at our own house, so we're paying double.
Well, and then the cost of all of our tools, products, what have they quadrupled since COVID? I mean, I
Yeah.
now work part-time in a beauty supply house, and I am shocked every week that I go to work. The price of a bottle of color is amazing to me.
Gloves.
Oh,
Gloves went up. Like,
foils.
mhm.
It's just, yeah. So you've got to cover all of that.
Absolutely.
I was reading here again on Gloss Genius, and it talks about if you have a waiting list of clients, right? If you have a waiting list, it's time for your price increase.
Yeah.
If you can't fit people in,
Open it up.
it's time for a price increase. A waiting list is not the only way to tell that a business is booming. It says use these simple terms. It's talking about potential hours of productivity. How many hours could you be booked every week? If you're working 40 hours, are they all booked? If they are, how do we free up? Right? So we raise that price. Some of those people are going to fall off because they don't want to pay the extra dollar. And it's going to free up space for people who are willing to pay it.
We've talked about a lot. It's cool to hear these snippets of these articles because it kind of concretes the ideas that we've been mentioning.
Seeing that 3 of us here are instructors, and I was reading something else here, and it said, what if you're charging more than your teacher? And so it made me think because, of course, we make friends with all of our
Like more than your
students.
teacher, like your teacher did when they were
Yeah, well,
working?
yeah, or just in general, if she's working outside the shop, if you were
Oh, I was gonna say, I
doing
hope that they're charging more than the teacher because
right,
that was years ago.
right, but if
Yeah.
you are in the salon as well, part-time teaching, maybe you're doing part-time
And
in
you're
the shop and whatever. Anyway, what I was going with is I'm friends with a lot of previous students on social media, and then I see where they're working and what they're doing. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, come see me," and they've got all their fun social media stuff out there. And I just think, and when they say I've got this and this and this available this week because they're posting it, what
Oh,
they're,
sure. Their
I,
openings.
and I'm looking at and they post what it costs. I'm like, they just graduated and they're charging how much? Like, it amazes me again, just in a year, every year, how
Yeah.
much things are going up. Hair extensions, highlights, balayage. There's a gal that I know that's over in Coeur d'Alene doing extremely well. And she graduated less than 2 years ago, and she's doing very well. So I feel like some of the times where we had to grind it out, I
Right.
did those shampoo sets and I did all of that, and I'm doing the perms and the color and the whatever. They may only work on 2 clients a day.
And making $500 a day.
Easy.
Well, before I feel like
Easy.
you focused more on the quantity,
Yes.
and now it's more about this
I think we
persona
had
or
to.
this.
A whole complete look.
Yeah, it's this look, this
Well, I guess it's all a complete look. But I mean,
well,
yeah.
Well,
like there's these little like niche markets,
Yes.
like
They're specializing.
specializing, right?
Specializing. Extensions. They're just a blonding specialist, or they're just
Exactly.
doing extensions. Where I was like, oh, I was a blonding specialist, and I was a gray coverage specialist, and I was a men's hair cutter, and I did a little bit of it all. Where these
right.
now
We did
they are
facials, we
really
did pedicures.
focusing on what they want to do. I didn't think I had a choice.
Right.
I felt like I had to do a little bit of it all. Where they end up only doing what they like. And they're making good money at it. So when we talk about keeping track of their prices and knowing what they're paying, what they're worth, okay, great, good for them.
And
see,
they are
this
worth it.
Missy, this ties directly into like a whole nother topic, but
Well, we'll have to
yeah,
probably catch that one next time.
yeah. Well, but what is the topic though, right?
What is it?
The topic is that nowadays people are taught to like appreciate themselves
Uh-huh.
and believe in themselves and
Yeah.
say what it is, and
Yeah.
it is what it is, and there's no gray area. Like people are now like, they don't do bullying. That person that was in high school, they used to pick on people and people laughed and thought it was
Yeah.
funny, that's dead.
And they don't do services
And
that they don't want to do.
and this whole culture now is like a culture of inclusion and a culture of standing up for yourself and normalizing boundaries and normalizing therapy and normalizing wants and needs, right? So
Shauna,
absolutely.
think about just the manicure students that came through when we were there at school. How many of them were, I'm not doing pedicures.
Oh yeah.
They
That's so
only
fun.
wanted to do
We
nails.
get that in cosmetology too. And
Yeah.
it's like you
They
are
don't wanna do
licensed, you
pedicures.
will do these.
Yeah.
So but once they're done,
Yeah. You need to pay your phone
they're
bill.
only doing natural nails, or they're
Yeah.
only doing artificial
My
nails,
gosh.
or they're only
Because
doing.
why though?
They
Because
don't
the
want to do pedicures.
well, and the public tells you what time it is. The
Mhm.
public is, you have a say, but the public also is going to come in and go, we want this service. We don't want that service.
Right.
And you're either going to get with that
What they're
program
asking for.
or you're going to
Be
fizzle out,
without.
right?
Yeah.
You're going to fizzle out. You're not going to do this
Flip a
industry.
burger.
Yeah. So it's like, well, you're going to do, and I'm not going to argue with people, right? Especially in the school, especially with students, like that's ridiculous. I would just go, good for you. I love that for
great.
you.
So you can flip a burger for $17 an
Yeah.
hour.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can.
now you can.
You can do a lot for $17. Okay, hey, so real quick, so 7 factors for a good pricing strategy. So this is the educational portion. Have competitive pricing. Before setting the prices, you should do some market research to understand where your products and services fall. So if you've never, like we've been talking, right? Like
Yeah.
understand like the cost of things, the cost of the overhead altogether. How much does it cost for you to go to work? How much does it cost for you to turn these lights on? Does it cost for you to turn your computer on? Does it cost for you to open this door and stay here all day? What are the cost of goods, customer demand, the perceived value,
Mm.
right? again, I hate
Perceived
perceived.
value.
Perceived.
Yeah.
Well, it's like what kind of establishment is it? You know,
Yeah. And then market conditions, the labor that's involved, and additional overhead. There's actually a lot of people in this industry right now that are newer to the industry, and they just charge. They don't even take these things into consideration. They just charge whatever they heard is going on in a different state.
Mhm.
Ooh.
And they've adopted that policy, and now they're like, well, the nails are $150. I get blown away all the time, again, when I see these forums online and the people are saying, like, these sets of nails, they look super standard to me, but whatever. But they're, yeah, how much would you charge for this? These girls are literally like 150, 140,
Yeah.
what is like, what?
Where is that?
Not in Spokane.
No.
Well,
And if there's people in Spokane that are doing that, please come forward. I'd love to have you on this show.
Well, and then there's different neighborhoods within Spokane and different neighborhoods within all these towns. I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah.
and who's your clientele? You know, what group of people do you attract?
Right.
Hmm.
That's a good point too.
Because that's huge.
Yeah.
That really drives most of it, I think.
It really does. Most of my clientele, when I first started out, I was like, oh, I'm going to have like this young, hip people that are my age. No, you're not. Foolish girl. Who are you going to have? You're going to have middle-aged people. Why? Because they work a job. They pay their own bills. They
Mhm.
have their own car.
Discretionary income.
And they coming in whenever they feel like. These are real adults, right? That are
Right.
coming in. That's your bread and butter. That's who my bread and butter was. The people that had jobs and worked. And so when did they get off work? At 5 o'clock, right? Now I would still get to the shop at like 10 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, sometimes for early risers. But there was always like this weird slump in the middle of the day between like 2 and 4. And then the after work crowd would come in, and we would be there until 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night sometimes.
Mhm.
So
So-
I didn't have to stay late at night because I was raising a family. I would go in at 5 in the morning
Mm,
and do them before work. Well, they got a whole day out of the beautiful fresh hairdo,
Yeah.
And
and
then advertising,
Yeah.
marketing.
right.
it worked out perfect for me and my clients
Yeah.
at the time. And I didn't have to spend all night at the salon.
It's one of the
So-
best reasons why this industry is so great, because of that, because you have the ability to make your own rules, your own schedule, do your own thing, and survive well and take good care of yourself. I tell people all the time, like, I didn't get rich, I'm not famous, although that would have been a lot of fun, but I definitely took very good care of myself. I'm still taking good care of myself. But it was all me. It was all on my own shoulders. It was all every decision that I made, every choice that I made. Who am I keeping? Who am I getting rid of? Who am I responding to? Who am I not responding to? Am I raising my prices? Not raising my prices? What am I doing? But
Mhm.
I think that 24 years for myself was an excellent run, and I'm not mad at
Absolutely.
it. I'm not mad at it, and I loved every second of it. But mostly the independence too. Do whatever I felt like doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come in when I want, go home when I want, whatever. All right, you guys. Anybody got anything else?
Oh, we could probably
T-
talk for days.
We
It
could.
sounds like we could.
We could, and we should bring coffee next time. But oh wait, we can't. We can't have it
Just
around
water.
Just
yeah,
water.
the equipment.
But until
Anyway.
next time,
Yeah. Until next time, I'm Shauna Martin,
I'm Misty Perlman.
I'm Della Kennan.
I'm Nick Olson.
and this was Book
Book
Till
till
June.
June.